and so that plan was put on pause in July 2023. There's obviously been some early works here, some foundation work, some site works, and a lot of work has been done by Kainga Ora over the last couple of years to find a sensible and affordable solution, which is what everybody wants, and to see the site developed and to see the work that's happened so far not go to waste. So we are really pleased that we've been able to achieve some consensus here in a pragmatic way. As part of that agreement that the Council has essentially reached with the Government, we will be putting $6 million in from Central Government into wider wraparound housing support here in Wellington, which I think, again, most people would agree is necessary given the issues we have here in Wellington as we grapple with dealing with our housing crisis. So this is a pragmatic step forward. I think it's a great day for Wellington, and I'm really pleased to see some progress. Mayor, and then we'll take some questions.
Thank you, Minister. Yeah, so look, from Wellington City's point of view, very thankful that we're seeing some progress for the site. I know a lot of people have been waiting to see development happen. The government indicated to us some years ago that they didn't think they could go through with the original planned development, so we've been talking about what could happen. Kainga Ora has committed to 104 dwellings. It's less than what was planned, and in exchange for that, as the Minister said, the Wellington City Council will receive $6 million to be used over a number of years to provide the wraparound support that is needed for high needs tenants. For a city that has a homelessness problem and a rough sleeper problem, this is very welcome. What we find with a lot of people who are on the streets is that it's not just enough to provide a roof over their heads, it's actually other support that's needed as well. So we'll now have some additional assistance to be able to do that. I know for the residents of Mount Cook, they are very welcoming of social housing in their neighbourhood, and they want to see this development happening. In terms of the part of the site that won't be used, providing we get the agreement finalised, I'll comment on that in a minute, I expect that the City Council's own social housing provider, Te Toimahana, will look at opportunities they might have or work with others to see what we can do to develop that site, but we're keen to now work up how the rest of the site can be used as well. Just to be clear, it's just a process issue that, notwithstanding the agreement reached between officers of council and officials of Kainga Ora, the council has to approve a consultation process with the community before final agreement can be given. There is a meeting this morning of councillors to decide on whether to approve that consultation process, and then final agreement will come later. So just to be very clear about that. Anyway, I think we're both.
Just want to say before we go to questions, just want to thank the Mayor for the very pragmatic leadership on this, and it's been really good to work together on it, and I think we all want the best for Wellington, so thank you for that.
Likewise.
When we get spades in the ground on this actual construction stuff?
Next year. So there's a bit of process, as the Mayor says. The council's got to agree the lease variation, which I'm very hopeful they'll do, because we need it to proceed, and there's been a bit of backwards and forwards over that over the last few months. So they've got to agree the lease. There's a detailed business case to go through. The Kainga Ora board signed off the initial plans, but there's a formal process around a DBC, detailed business case, back half of this year and then early into next year. Once that's done, the money is there on Kainga Ora's balance sheet to get on with it. So we expect next year. I'm not going to give you a month or something. KO will be able to give you the details, but it would be an indicative month.
But does the next government have to make the final decision, or is the money all there waiting for that to sign off? Technically, the final detailed business case will go to Cabinet, because we've got these thresholds where any investment by Kainga Ora above a certain amount has to go to Cabinet. And so, yes, it will have to go to Cabinet technically for final sign-off, but the point is the plans are there, the business case has been done, the money is there. Kainga Ora has provision for it on their balance sheet as part of the turnaround plan to build on this site. We're not releasing the amount of money that has been allocated for it, because it's for commercial reasons, because we're about to, eventually we will go out and tender, and we want to get the best price possible for the building. But we know what we're going to build here, and I've outlined the mix of 1 and 2 beddie and 3
beddies.
Will it be a tower block, or is it going to be, how high will it be, or will it be a tower block? What's the plan?
Well, that's a good question. It's going to be a mix. Caroline, do you want to say? I think it's a bit of a blend.
Yes, sure. So it's a combination. There's one 7-storey building is proposed that will comprise the 55 one-beds and the 37 two-beds, and then the 4-beddies, the 12 4-beddies are in a terrace formation.
Yeah, so a bit of a blend. And look, I don't think I'm breaking any confidences by saying this is a challenging site. One of the reasons why the cost blew out to 1.3 million bucks per apartment back in July 23 was it is a challenging site for a range of different reasons, and so that is partly what's happened over the last couple of years. As KO's been working really hard trying to get a blend of solutions, as Caroline's just said, that work for the site. And we're not going to use all of it. So as the Mayor says, there's opportunities for other developments on the other part of the site.
Confident it will be cheaper per unit than the previous plans?
Yes.
Well, and why can't you say what the cost is going to be if in 2022 it was announced that the cost would go?
I wasn't the Minister of Housing, famously, in July 2021 or indeed in July 2023. We are going to, Kainga Ora will go to market on a build solution and find a partner to do the building, and if I name a number now as to how much it's going to cost, that will eventually be what it costs, if not more. And I want to keep KO and I want to get good value for money. So, it will be substantially cheaper than what was approved in July 20, or what was not approved in July 23.
Is it going to be a public-private partnership that's previously been floated for the site? Is that something being explored?
Well, not in a traditional sense. I mean, in the it's Wellington City Council land. Kainga Ora will be doing the building. KO will own the development, own the buildings, and obviously we'll be working with private sector partners around the building. KO doesn't employ builders to go and build. We hire from the private sector to do that building. So in that sense, it involves the private sector. We don't have state-owned builders lying around. But in terms of a more like a PPP for a road, it's not that sort of arrangement. It is just basically a pretty simple. There's a piece of land here in central Wellington. We've now found a solution for building on it. KO is going to go and do that, and they're going to hire some people to build it. It's pretty simple.
Why now? Why just before the election? It's been sitting for 3 years. Now we have to wait for a future government.
Well, no. It's not. As I say, technically it waits for a future government, but that's just part of the electoral cycle. We only have. Hang on a minute. We have elections every 3 years. If we'd waited until after the election, you'd be writing stories about how the government is not getting on with the Arlington site. I mean, the point is, I have been pushing on this for months, and the Mayor and I have been...
In fairness, that's right. We've been talking about this actually since the beginning of the year.
Yeah.
Really. So this is about... We've just got to the point now. It'd be nice if it had happened earlier, but
totally.
This has been driven by, I think, a combination of Kainga Ora wanting to get on with it, with Wellington City Council wanting Kainga Ora to get on with it, and then finding the means to do so, given the constraints that everybody's under.
There's always more process around this stuff than people think. I mean, the lease agreement makes it different to normal developments. It's a large development. There's been a lot of backwards and forwards, which is not worth boring you on all the details with. The point is, we're getting on with it, and the fact that it is in August, 87 days before the election, is frankly irrelevant and coincidental. We just got to get development on the site, and I've been, pretty frustrated about the lack of progress for a while.
You heard in your voice, Minister.
Given it was paused in 2023, can you explain why it's taken so long to get to this point now? What has been going on behind the scenes?
Well, because we've been trying to find a value for money solution. We can't spend 1.3 million bucks per apartment, and frankly, I think most people would say 300 all social housing units really would have been extremely dense, high density housing. Was not going to work, and I think so most people kind of realise that. And so, as I say, the site's challenging. KO spent a lot of time working out what is viable economically here and what is doable, and they've now done that. It's taken some time. It's taken longer than I would have liked. I think it's taken longer than anyone would have liked. And you've got the added complication of the lease, the council agreement. So it's just taken longer than anyone would have liked. But the point is, we're getting on with it. No, not at all. I back the leader, and he's doing a great job. And from my point of view, it's just getting on with the job of housing and infrastructure and transport and all the things. I've got another speech in about 45 minutes, and I've just head down, bum up, straight back into it. We've got a lot of work to do. Chris Pink was working for himself. Yes. Chris Pink was working for himself. Yes. No, absolutely not. I want to reject that suggestion. Absolutely. I'm pretty annoyed that some of the rumours going around that they're completely unfounded. Chris Pink was acting on his own cognizance, and you know, it is what it is. I'm not going to get into conversations I have with caucus colleagues. All I'll say is I talk to caucus colleagues all the time, but I will never divulge private conversations I have with caucus members. Well, we've had two goes at this in April and August. The matter has been put to bed. We're unified behind Chris Luxon as Prime Minister and leader of the National Party. We've got an election to fight in 87 days, and I intend to fight as hard as humanly possible to make sure we win that election.
Did Chris Pink lose his ministerial roles because others wanted the leadership?
You can't mount a challenge to a sitting Prime Minister as a minister and lose and expect to keep your ministerial warrants. I think that's totally reasonable, and so I fully understand why the Prime Minister's acted the way he has.
Did Chris Pink call for that vote, or did
I'm not going to get into what happened in caucus. All I'll say is what has been publicly reported and publicly confirmed by the Prime Minister and others, which is that Chris Pink launched a leadership challenge that failed. We had a confidence vote in the Prime Minister's leadership, which he won, I believe, decisively, and we're unified behind him.
this looks very messy? Can you confidently go into the election increasing national support?
Absolutely. We've got a really good track record as a government, and we've got a lot more work to do. And I just want to reassure New Zealanders, we're absolutely focused on the task of rebuilding this economy and driving higher living standards for New Zealanders.
No, different circumstances, different conditions, different time, different people. Look, the only message I would have for this Chris and every Chris in Parliament is this is a really important election, and actually this is a country that is in desperate need of good, sound leadership. We're a country that is struggling with infrastructure, struggling with response to climate change, struggling with wealth creation, struggling with fair distribution. And that's what I think people want to hear about. What are we going to do to continue the hard job of building this nation, a nation for everybody? So, you know, get off the distractions and all the kind of the circus elements that sometimes go with Parliament. There are too many serious issues the country's facing. So we need our leaders to be focused on the issues for everyone.
Is this really the end of it?
Yes.
How can you be sure?
Because I am confident that caucus colleagues are going to unite behind the Prime Minister. We've got 87 days to go until the election, and the election is very important. And as Mayor Little says, there are big challenges facing this country. We have a housing crisis, we have an infrastructure deficit, we have climate change bearing down on us, causing severe weather events all over the place. We have renewable energy we need to build and take advantage of to drive competitive advantage for New Zealand. We are not a wealthy enough country. We're nowhere near as prosperous as we can and should be. There are big challenges facing this country, and we need everyone to knuckle down and focus on the real issues driving the election rather than distractions.
And just for the record, you categorically deny that you yourself had leadership ambitions.
Absolutely. Well, time will tell. I don't want to make predictions about that, but historically these sort of events have never been particularly kind to political parties. But you know, there's not a lot I can do about that. I've just got to get on with the job, and I've got many jobs, as you know. Here today with Mayor Little at Arlington, and I'm about to go give a speech to the civil contractors about transport. So from my point of view, it's just head down, bum up, back on the tools. Well, I'm sad for Chris. I think it's justified that he lost his ministerial warrants. As I said, you can't mount a challenge as a member of the Cabinet and lose and expect to stay, I think, and that's just being realistic. But he's an excellent local Member of Parliament, and he has been a valued colleague in the Ministry, but also in the Parliament. Work closely with him, obviously, in building and construction and housing. They're sort of adjacent portfolios. You know, we've always got on really well. Appreciated his legal brain. He's legally trained like me. I won't say I'm a lawyer. So yeah, his 9 years as an MP, I think he had a really bright future. So it's sad in that sense.
Are you a senior cabinet minister who hasn't said publicly yet that she backs the PM as Eric Stanford? Do you think that she is?
Yes.
Can you be certain?
Yes.
What conversations with her about that?
I'm not going to get into what conversations Erica and I have or haven't had. But yes, I'm confident she supports him.
What did you think of Nicola Grigg's comment that Eric Stanford isn't Prime Minister period?
It's for Nicola Grigg to talk about. I mean, I'm not going to get into that.
Just on the public, you've acknowledged that you may take a hit, right? Doesn't that make Mr. Watson's job even harder?
Well, as I say, you never want to go through these events, but from my point of view, we're just back on the tools, back on the job, getting on with things. And I've got a lot of things to do today and a lot of things to do tomorrow, and there'll be another lot of things to do the day after that. Right, we'll take one or two more, then we might wrap it up.
Just for the Mayor, back on development.
Sure.
You previously spoke about the lack of central government investment in Wellington. Is today's announcement good news for the council? It was going to be 300 homes, it's now 100, and the council's left to pick up the bill, the deficit of 200.
Yeah, of course it's good news because the development is proceeding. It might not be what was anticipated 5 years ago, but it is getting not only a development and Crown investment in the city, but also much needed social housing. So it is a positive. The quid pro quo for not going ahead with the original proposal, we've now got some funding to do the stuff that we also know is challenging, which is providing the wraparound services for the high needs tenants, or those people who do need tenancies but need a bit of other support to keep them there, to make their housing sustainable. So I'm very pleased with it.
Is it disappointing though that there's going to be 200 West dwellings than what's originally planned?
I think it's good that we're getting the development of 104 dwellings. The remainder, we'll have to find a different way to do it, and I'm confident that we will. That'll take a little longer, but we will get some building on the site. We'll get some much needed housing on the site. That's got to be a positive at a time when we know we're seeing rough sleepers and homelessness a major problem for the city.
KO is continuing to build in Wellington and the wider region as well, alongside our community housing sector. So this is not the only game in town. There's big developments happening, and it's really exciting. But let's be honest about it. New Zealand's got a housing crisis. It's been there for 20 to 30 years. Turning it around is not going to happen overnight. We are continuing with the work of the previous government around freeing up land for urban development, sorting out the infrastructure settings so that we can get spades in the ground on new building. Wellington's now got a very ambitious district plan, which I signed 18 months or so ago, which allows for much more dense building in Wellington and around transport corridors, which is great. We've got the Incentives for Growth Fund coming as well, which will provide money for all councils around the country, including Wellington, in accordance with housing growth in the city. So we are working away at all of the things that actually make a difference in housing: urban land supply, infrastructure funding and financing, incentives for growth, and of course delivering better social housing and making sure that support we do provide for some folk who are unfortunately doing it tough. Rough sleeping is there as well. But there's no quick fix. If there was a quick fix for our housing crisis, we would have done it a long time ago. The truth is, it's hard, it's difficult and complicated work. It spans multiple years of multiple parliaments and multiple governments, and we just have to keep working away at it. But I'm confident we're making progress. But it's not going to be fixed tomorrow, or even next week, or even next month. But we are making progress.
What's been spent on this site so far?
About 50 million.
Hey, Andrew, with how many houses would the council plan to put here on top of the Kainga Ora ones? And how's it going to be funded from ratepayers or debt? Or?
You mean the balance of the site that's not used? Look, that is all yet to be worked out. We now have Toi Mahana, which is a trust, separate legal entity. It's got means to borrow. It's got to be able to fund that through its revenues. But we know that there are iwi housing providers who are keen to look at opportunities here. We know that there are other suppliers of housing keen to look at affordable housing. So we've got to do something that works. We're not in a position to put more burden on Wellington ratepayers, but we'll find a solution that means we get housing and that we can do our bit to address the housing shortage.
All right. Thanks, guys. Yeah, let's do a photo.
Yeah. Cheers, guys.
Yeah, great.
Affecting Congo. A vast oil spill from a leaking tanker has started to hit Oman's coastline. The oil spill is being described as one of the world's worst in recent years. It spread largely unchecked for weeks. The oil comes from the Caroline Benzegi tanker, carrying an estimated 800,000 barrels of Russian oil and under international sanctions, which ran aground at the end of June. Satellite imagery shows the slick now